Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this evening for an hour of restorative stretching, for an hour of quiet, an hour of letting go of the week that has come before. Also, letting go of expectations for the weekend and the week that is to come. These Friday night practices are so sweet because they allow us in such a way to bookend the previous week and the week ahead. And it's a way to check in with yourself, a way to notice how the week landed for you and what your actions, reactions, and responses to the week have been. Not in any way to analyze or judge or tell a story about what you've chosen to do or how you've reacted, but just to start building up a picture. Maybe in this way, you can start noticing, okay, I remember 3 different times when I reacted out of anger. Where's that anger coming from? Maybe you can think back to times when you felt really emotional or ungrounded, almost like you weren't in your body at all. Maybe you ask that same location question or origin question, where is that coming from? Or perhaps you just notice it and sit with it. A lot of times we feel very forced, very rushed to come up with answers, to have it all together, and to um, sort of tie a neat little bow around things that have happened or things that we think, words that we say. And to be honest, that's not really part of the human experience. Part of being a human, part of being in this life and on this earth is having no answers at all, having no direction, no clear purpose, feeling sort of aimless, questioning everything or most of the things that you do. I'm here to tell you that's extremely normal and natural. So, especially these days, as we're nearing the holidays and our ability to gather with people in the way that we normally would is shifted significantly. I think it's important for us to give ourselves that permission to not have all the answers, to not know the safest way to do things, to not be okay with other people's boundaries, and to struggle to find your own boundaries in the same way. It's okay not to have all the answers. It's okay to sit with all the questions, to let the question marks continue coming up and spinning and bubbling, and to know that you don't have to change all of them to periods. You don't have to answer all of those questions. Instead, you can come to your mat or whatever your practice surface is. Grab plenty of support, like the many blankets you see around and beneath me. And give yourself the gift of time to not know and the gift of time to not do. These two things that we are very obsessed with. We are obsessed with doing and obsessed with knowing things or feeling certain about things, even though that's not usually the way it goes. There are always more questions than answers. And so tonight we sit with those questions. We sit with the quiet, and the quiet really invites a lot of those questions. And that's okay. We sit with them. We know that we are safe. We feel our bodies melt into that awareness of the questions, as well as melting into a feeling of security, knowing that we'll be okay, even if we don't know the answers yet. So let's start by getting comfortable in a seat. When I say get comfortable in a seat, what does that look like for you? Maybe it's a cross-legged seat or one with legs out long. Maybe you grab extra layers, a pair of socks to get cozy, or maybe you take them off. You're feeling more comfortable without them. I give these specific examples to let you know that it's okay for you to change your mind and to remind you that this time is for your comfort and your comfort only. Even if it takes time to figure out what it is that would make you most comfortable, take it, choose it, act on it. Let's start, as I mentioned, in a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Feel the spine tall, the shoulders low, the jaw soft. Choose to close the eyes or lower the gaze. Relax the space behind the eyes. Start to become aware that you are breathing. Feel the breath coming in and going out. As much as possible, try not to change the breathing, but instead to let the breath be natural and relaxed. When the breath is natural, it's likely that each breath will look or feel or sound a little different. You might have one deep and smooth breath followed by a shallower breath. Maybe there's a shaky breath, then a steady breath. Maybe there are several steady, smooth breaths in a row. Just know that it's okay for the breaths to be different, and use this time to pay attention to how they are different. Perhaps you find yourself becoming distracted. If so, gently and in a friendly way, call your attention back to 3 more breaths. So often we feel as though we do not have the answers because we try to overcomplicate things. May this practice be a reminder that just sitting, breathing, and paying attention to the breath is more than enough of a mindfulness practice. It does not have to be more complicated than that for you to come back to your body and step out of the thinking mind. Perhaps now you'd like to begin a little bit of movement, tilting one ear toward its same side shoulder and then the other. Let the movement be gentle, soft. Perhaps you notice you are able to bring one ear closer to the shoulder on one side than another. Let it be so. When this movement feels complete, start rolling the neck forward and then to the side. So we're still bringing each ear toward its same side shoulder, but doing so with a small roll forward in order to relax the back of the neck. Perhaps you notice that this movement allows you to get a little bit deeper sensation in the sides of the neck. Start to circle all the way back now. Choosing not to bring yourself to maximum capacity, but instead to keep the circles small, a little bit more controlled. Offering the body a little bit more restraint to avoid injury or discomfort. Switch the direction of the circles when it feels right. Bring the head upright. Inhale, open the arms out, guide them up and overhead. Exhale, twist to your right. Left hand can come on the right knee. Right hand can come to the side of your hip or behind you. Or you might decide on a gentler twist with each hand on its respective knee. You could take the gaze behind you, over the front shoulder or up to the sky. And then when the time is right, unwind on an inhale, guiding the arms up and overhead once more. Exhale, twist to the left side. Take this twist as deep or as shallow as you prefer. Continue to breathe and feel into the belly. As you next inhale, slowly unwind, coming back through center. Bring the arms up and overhead once more. Palms touch. Slowly Send them down to rest in front of the heart. Make your way to hands and knees. Find shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Start to sway the weight of the body from side to side. Slowly getting comfortable in this position. Sway the weight now forward and back. As far as you like. You could come all the way forward in a way where the hips and pelvis lower. You could come all the way back in a way where the hips are near the heels. Or you could find something a little more soft. Start a few hip circles now. Coming into one direction and then the other. Notice, just to notice, what thoughts are prominent in the mind here. Do you find yourself very focused on the movement at hand or the experience of the present moment? Or is the mind drifting to the past or the future? Maybe you find yourself rehearsing something to say to someone or thinking back on a past argument. Find stillness in tabletop. Send the hips back toward the heels. Allow the head to hang heavy. Maybe the forehead rests on your mat or a block or another practice surface or prop. Find some really subtle movement here. If the arms are long and straight, bend into the elbows, rest on the forearms. The palms can touch together. The subtle movement that will happen here, or that we will practice here, is guiding the shoulder blades together along the spine, squeezing them together. And then pressing down into the elbows to spread the space between the shoulder blades. So you will feel the front of the chest lowering in space toward the ground as you draw the shoulder blades together. Then you'll feel the chest lift and raise as you press down with the elbows and spread the space between the shoulder blades. A couple more times like this. Getting into the thoracic spine a little bit, working into the upper back, which we tend to over curve and hunch as the day goes on. Relax all the way into this child's shape in any way you prefer. Knees all the way together or far apart. Head resting in some way, maybe on stacked fists. Breathe in and out, totally aware of the low back. Feel into all the breath that resides in that place. It may be a very different experience from feeling the breath coming in and out of the belly. Very slowly, make your way to a sturdy vertical surface like a wall. Take a seat in front or to the side of the wall so that the legs are parallel to the baseboard. Grab for a thin blanket or pillow and place it out to the opposite side. One of my favorite ways to come into legs of the wall is to have my mat perpendicular to the wall. So the short edge of my mat is touching the baseboard. That way, when I come down, my whole spine is supported by my mat. I'm just demoing a little bit differently today. So once you find the legs long, directly to the side of the wall, you'll walk the hands toward that blanket or pillow and use the forearms to help you pick up the hips and situate yourself a little bit closer to the wall. Come all the way down to your side. Very slowly, roll to your back. Bring the feet onto the wall, or at least the heels onto the wall, so that you can pick up your hips and get closer or scoot farther away from the wall. Adjust the support of the blanket or thin pillow so that it's right beneath the head and neck. Cradling everything just right. Know that the legs are welcome to be together. You could choose to have them touching. You could choose to have them hip width distance apart or wider, or somewhere in between. Of course, if at any time the sensation of blood draining down the legs or tingling in the feet becomes too much, the easiest way to give yourself a break is to bend into the knees and place the soles of the feet on the wall. Of course, you are also welcome to bring the legs up another type of vertical surface, like the side of your bed, or even onto the seat of a chair. The lower the vertical surface is, the more the knees can bend, and the more gentle the stretch can be. So take what feels available to you tonight. And as you start to settle in, pay attention to what came up to the surface for you during our movement. Perhaps you felt really connected and embodied and present, very aware of how the body was moving in space. Or maybe you felt pretty disassociated. You could feel your body following my guidance, but not a lot of thought behind it, not a lot of awareness or mindfulness. Maybe you didn't feel your body moving at all because you were quite occupied in the mind. All of these experiences and responses are valid. Notice, just for the sake of noticing, which one you experienced or how your body responded. Maybe you felt a lot of questions coming up for you as you moved. Or maybe now that you have moved, you feel the questions coming again. Now that the body is still, maybe the mind feels more awake. Notice the pace of the thoughts. Notice what questions are present. And enjoy the time of quiet for those questions to simply be laid down. There is no burden, no expectation of figuring it out or having an answer. You can imagine dropping all these little questions like seeds around you, knowing it will likely take time and patience and nourishment for answers to grow, if they grow at all. That's a chance we take when we choose to sow seeds. We may have a response that we approve of or expected, a response we didn't expect or approve of, or no response at all. We use this time to get in touch with the truth that being okay with any outcome, being okay with no outcome at all, being okay with no answers, is such a big step in our healing. Our healing takes place over many steps. We don't take one giant leap to the end. and have all the answers and all of the results. Part of being human is taking those little steps, one after another, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard. Let the questions fall like stones, be scattered like seeds. Choose not to hold on to them, choose not to pocket them, not to safeguard them because you want them to reveal some sort of answer. Choose not to hold on to them in a way that becomes obsessive, analytic. Choose to let them go. Allow the questions to be heard, to be seen, to be felt. Let them have their space. Then let them go. This particular posture is one of flipping our perspective, literally turning things upside down. Feeling more of the weight of gravity, feeling more of the support beneath and around us. Choosing no longer to feel the weight or burden of those questions. Very slowly begin to bend into the knees. To bring the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. Maybe bringing the hands to the knees to gently support the opening of the hips. Bring the hands to each knee. Slowly close them. Roll to your side. Take some time here to feel the weight of the body coming all the way down. At first, it can be a little bit of a shock to the system. So take your time. Enjoy the feeling of the body resting. When the time is right, press the hands against the ground to bring yourself back up, but only for a moment. It is from this place that we'll begin setting up for Shavasana, our final expression of rest. Typically, this position is done lying down with no support. Of course, this being a restorative class, we rely on support quite a bit. We rely on the world to hold us up. We rely on being held instead of feeling as though we have to be the ones to hold ourselves. So we can use a bolster or a couch cushion or a large pillow, even a firm, thick folded blanket. And we place this support vertical so that we can rest the entire length of the spine against it. Eventually, we'll get there, but no rush. Ensure that you have at least 2 other blankets. And if you don't have them now, just pause the recording. One of your blankets will be used as support beneath the knees. So you can roll a blanket into a long rectangle shape to be placed horizontally beneath the knees. The other blanket will be used as a wrap for the feet. Even if the feet are not cold, this type of wrap is meant to be very soothing and very nurturing, like something you'd find at a spa, something that perhaps your mother did for you when you were young, something to keep you really comfortable and feeling wrapped up and safe. The way it works is to open out your blanket to a rectangle shape. Lay it down with the longer edges to the sides. Bring the bottom edge up over the toes. Bring the left side to the right and the right side to the left. It doesn't have to look beautiful, just to wrap the feet in this way. When the foot wrap is in place and the legs feel comfortable, relaxed, and supported by that rolled blanket, take hold of your bolster or pillow. Lie all the way back. Arms can rest out to your sides, maybe quite wide. One of the ways that we can position the body in order to encourage some extra vulnerability, an extra feeling of being okay with not having all the answers, is to open the body to receive, to physically place the body in a position where the arms are open wide, as if to receive a large hug, a gift, or just destiny. The backs of the hands can rest on the ground so that even the palms are open, ready to receive. The whole body then in this way becomes receptive to the idea of laying back and getting instead of giving. Instead of holding control over what it is we have or don't have, know or don't know. We instead open the hands to whatever it is that it will be revealed. Or opening the hands to the knowledge that some things may never be revealed. And that's okay. Continue to get comfortable here. Letting the weight of the body rest down. The body becoming heavy. All the muscles of the face becoming soft. Use this time to rest. Use this time to let the thoughts dissipate. To let the activity of the mind be slow. To let your questions be scattered around you with no expectation. Just saying or thinking the question, or just feeling the question leave the body, knowing that you no longer carry the burden of having to know the answer. What does it feel like to accept this length of extended rest? To welcome in a whole hour devoted just for you. And particularly these last 8 to 10 minutes of silence. What does it feel like to accept that? To know that you are worthy of receiving this rest. Perhaps relaxing in this way, leaning against support, offering your body deep comfort. Maybe these things make it easier for you to accept not always having the answers. Slowly begin to offer your body small ways to begin waking. Wiggling toes and fingers, circling ankles, wrists. Choose to reach overhead or to the side, or to embrace the front of the body with crossed arms. Choose to be aware of the breathing, the feeling of the feet wrapped or becoming unwrapped. Slowly make your way to your side, off of the bolster, off of the spinal support. Again, let the body settle here. Getting used to the feeling of the weight of the body being shifted. A change in the experience of gravity. Little by little, press yourself up to a gentle seat. Choosing not to rush. Bring the hands together in front of the heart, sealing in this truth